Welcome to this episode of Was It Good? Today we're checking out Westworld, Season 3, Episode 1. I'm your host, Ravi, and we've also got my two brothers, Krishna and Arjuna. Guys, this one is a doozy. Was it real? Where can I buy Marshawn Lynch's t-shirt/sweater? Can I please get a Bryan Cranston cameo? Did anyone else catch Kid Cudi in this episode? Let's dive in.
That's what you call a recap.
That is a really good recap. And actually, you know what? Typically on this podcast, we start with our one-word impressions. Can we just talk about Marshawn Lynch's sweater/t-shirt?
You're driving this thing.
I am driving it.
Let's do it.
Right into the ground.
Oh.
Did anyone catch his t-shirt and what was happening with it?
Emotions, and then depending on what he was feeling, a different emotion would light up. Also, I think it's implied that he's high the whole episode. Is that correct?
There's actually a lot of drug references. You see a lot, like at least 3 characters put what looks like a little circular disc on their tongue, which seems to be some type of calming drug. Yeah. And there's a lot of drug references.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of drug references.
So, yes, he was high.
Man.
Potentially.
That's just wonderful.
Also, Lena Waithe was in this episode. Lena Waithe being most famous for Masters of None.
Speaking, though, of, Marshawn Lynch and him potentially being high, a quick, side note, what was announced today in NFL?
No marijuana, or no marijuana tests anymore.
Is that a coincidence? Is there a government conspiracy?
This was filmed almost in 2018, I want to say. So he actually, this was before he came back to Seattle last season. So maybe.
They should probably name this Marshawn Lynch Day. 2 big things, right? The NFL pretty much legalizes weed. We don't know when they're going to play again, but they did that. And Marshawn Lynch makes his TV debut. Has he been on television before?
He was actually in Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 4. I was just watching it the other day.
Oh, wow.
And then boom, Marshawn Lynch appears and he's eating, I don't know, some sandwich, he's got tacos. And he's like, they forgot my pico de gallo.
Oh, my God.
And I thought that was pretty fun.
All right, so he's no stranger to the television.
He's no stranger to the television.
He's an aspiring actor.
Yeah. Aren't we all?
No, he's not inspiring.
Yeah.
He's made it. What are you talking about? He's in Westworld.
He was in...
He's done. He's there.
Aspiring.
Yeah, he's already done that. Anyways.
So, moving into how we typically start this robotic podcast, which is our one-word impressions.
Yes.
Wait a second.
Yes.
When he said, "I'm your host,"
just so you know, you're
Brad.
Oh, shit.
Well, it doesn't. I'm cut off completely.
You're cut off completely.
But it doesn't matter. We won't use this as a social clip. But because you can't see me, I'm a host now. But when he said, "I'm your host, Ravi," do you think Krishna wrote that with the intention that you are a host within Westworld?
Are we thinking that this podcast has drifted into the Westworld type of simulation type thing, and we're just reliving this podcast over and over again?
Oh, we're in our own loop?
Oh,
yes, we've done this.
Sucks.
This is the 70-second loop of Was It Good?
Yeah, that's true, actually. We do keep doing these podcasts.
Technically, it's a 73rd loop if you count the Lost episode that was known as The Rise of Skywalker, which we did twice.
Anyway, one-word impressions. Krishna, how would you summarize this episode in one word or less?
You have 10 seconds.
It needs to be one word. It's over-dramatic. That is my one word. It's over-dramatic, but I think what I mean by that is that a lot of the sort of performances to me seems a little bit over-dramatic, a little bit, they were really trying to emphasize certain things. And I don't mean over-dramatic in a bad way, by the way. I actually think that was done for a very specific reason. The reason being that they're in another park right now. I think it's, to me, and here is why I would say that, and I'm already jumping ahead to theories.
Oh, boy.
Can I pull it? Should I pull it in or should I save it?
Save it for the theory section. Otherwise, I'll go theories, and then we'll all stand there and be like, what?
Oh, we don't have any. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say over-dramatic, and I'll explain it more later.
So the big thing then is, listen on later. You'll hear Christian's theory.
Yes, I have a theory of why it was overdramatic.
I connected the podcast.
There we go.
Oh, is this like the MCU?
Of podcasts, yes. Arjuna, what would you say your one-word impression is?
Future.
Fuck you! Are you serious?
Yeah, of course.
I prepped for
this episode was all about the future. It was just a writer's room dump of Imagine you're in the world of 2058, and
Go ahead.
you're in the world of 2058, and what would everything realistically in our world of 2020 be like in 38 years, right? Somewhat trying to draw from that, right, and what we've seen and everything, and I thought it was really cool. I thought it was cool to just see all these little types of inventions and kind of extensions of what we already have, taking smart home devices to like the next level of basically being able to do everything. Even the simple things like a telephone call with that was seen by one of those that guy in the beginning of the episode who I don't even know who he really was.
He was connected to Delos somehow.
Yeah, he was connected. He was on a board, and he had investment in Westworld, right?
Oh, so he was using augmented reality.
But he also had the insight, which we'll pull in later. But
Yeah, so and, like, I thought like just little things like that were really cool. The design of the vehicles, like the bicycles and the little helicopter ships and the conference calls, just excuse me, all of those different details were really cool, and it kind of is like, wow, like they really immersed you into what this futuristic world, and you got to see a little bit of that in season 2 when we had some of the Dolores kind of flashbacks to when she was taken out of the park. But I really liked what they did because this was, in theory, all in,
the world.
in the world.
Yes,
But we'll get to
yes,
that. We'll
yes.
get to
We
that.
will get to that, won't we?
Yeah.
I'm going to go for my one-word impression. Now that I had to pivot really, really hard.
Don't you love a pivot?
sad?
Sad because it was so bad.
Not because it was so bad.
I'm just kidding.
Because Aaron Paul is obviously he's like 1/3 of the entire episode. We're
Yeah.
following this new character, Aaron Paul, who to us is potentially a human being. I mean, this is.
I like how you said potential.
I mean, every new person or thing that we're introduced to is going to be like, is this real? Is this
Yeah.
a person? Is it AI? Is it a simulation? Is it a dream? Is it a memory? Is it a deja vu? Is it not alternate? It's just, you don't know what the fuck is
A
anything
memory,
anymore.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
Aaron
who
Paul,
knows?
so he's this person that is introduced to us, and he's very clear. He's clearly upset. He's distressed about something.
PTSD, right?
PTSD. Pretty much everybody that we're introduced to as a new character or reintroduced with old characters, everyone is sad.
That's true.
Bernard, he's a sad cow farmer person
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I did like his beard.
Dolores, for to a degree, you can say like everything she's doing it for. Well, we don't know entirely why yet.
She was the only non-sad character. She was just angry.
Yeah,
She's
but
been angry
anger.
since season
But you
2.
can argue, and maybe we're getting very philosophical here. But anger, you could just say, is an extension of sadness.
No,
Yes,
no.
I'm
I think
changing the rules.
They can definitely be related,
change the
and
rules.
I think in some
Sure.
cases you can be right.
Yes.
But I think, in other cases, anger is just anger and sadness is just sadness, and they don't always have to be related.
Anyway, everyone was sad. I have spoken. This is the way.
Just for our audience, we like to normally combine the words into a sentence. If you take it in order of Krishna, Ravi, and Arjuna, our sentence is overdramatic, sad future.
Wait a second. That sounds like the present.
Oh dear
Like what
God!
we're currently going through.
This sounds like
This is
Westworld.
incredible.
Do you think? Quick side here. Join me over here on the sidebar. Here's the sidebar, guys. We're over in a sidebar conversation here, tying things into the real world. Do you guys feel like sometimes things feel like a cosmic joke?
Yes.
And Westworld coming out now with like our current situation. I mean, maybe I'm looking too much into it, and you could argue that with probably a lot of shows that are coming out this week, next week, and the next coming weeks.
Yeah.
But it just feels like this in particular just feels like a gigantic.
It's too spot on.
Yeah.
Well,
a little bit.
And I think maybe what you're referring to is the fact that everyone on the show questions like what is real,
Yes.
and
Yes.
are we just pawns in a bigger game, right? And it's hard
There's-
not to feel like that with what's going on right
There's
now.
even a character who actually goes on and is like, we're all in a fucking simulation type of rant
Yeah.
early on in the episode,
Right.
which was very spot on for current events, I would say, because there are a lot of people who are like, we're in a simulation right now.
Or there's still a large contingent of people who think we're being fed false information, right? And that the whole thing's a hoax and the conspiracies that are flying around. And I would be remiss. We have to actually say that it's coronavirus. Okay, we should date what we're talking about. This is what is going on during the time of this podcast. So if you're listening to this podcast 10 years in the future, you know what time this is from.
Just to prove we're not robots, it is insert disease that is currently relevant here. It's going on.
What the hell? You
is
just
true.
undated us.
You just ruined it, you fool.
Oh, boy.
You fool.
So, I don't even know how. Like, Westworld is one of those shows where, there's just before we started the episode tonight, we watched a YouTube channel's recap, which is like a 10-minute recap or something.
That was good.
And then when we started the episode right on the dot at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Westworld or HBO has their own 2-minute recap. And you sit there and you're still like, there's so much other shit that is missing, right? Like, I'm still confused about Tessa Thompson's character.
Yep.
Who the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is the new Scarface guy?
I think
who the hell are these people?
I think with Tessa Thompson, the real one's dead, right?
Yes.
She got shot,
Yes.
or is assumed. Did we actually? I don't remember. I don't remember if we even saw her die on screen. It's implied
We saw
that
we
she
saw
gets
her die.
shot.
We saw her die.
Dolores is Tessa for a second, and then she's not, and Tessa's somebody else.
Yep.
So I think the only thing maybe one way to simplify it is who is under Dolores' control and who is not, right? I think, and that's maybe how you have to look at it, because Dolores is sort of like the new Anthony Hopkins character. I would think she's sort of driving things now. I feel like Anthony Hopkins for a season and a half was sort of the one who. He was writing the script. He was the puppet master behind all the things. And now Dolores, she sort of freed herself from the Matrix. Mm-hmm. Now she's the one who's driving things. She's like, I've got a mission. I'm going, the human race is going to pay, right? And they're also inferior, and we're going to have a new species. And she actually makes that reference directly in this episode. A new species is going to take over, and it's going to rule the planet. The planet. It's not a planet. It's not a simulation.
Is Westworld just like the modern day telling of Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, I think honestly, there's a lot of references to other. And I was thinking this while I was watching. Like, there's so much Matrix in this, right? Matrix came out in 1999. There's so much. Yeah, War of the Worlds. You're just trying to figure out the world that you live in, and you just can't be sure what is real and what isn't. And that story's been told many times. For a long time, I think.
Yeah, I honestly think the big thing of this season is going to be figuring out, because we know she took about 6 to 8
core things,
of different hosts.
Is it actually 6 to 8?
Yeah, that's the shot they show of her purse.
That's right.
The Charlotte / Dolores host that leaves Westworld, cores. And we saw when she revives Bernard, one of them was Bernard, who she revives, and we saw that there was a Dolores and a Charlotte, right?
Right.
So that's 2 of them. So there's 4 to 6 left.
Yeah.
And now she has given Scarface Man, whoever that is, an identity as well. So I think
James Marsden.
I think part of it.
Well, no, he went to the cloud.
He went to the cloud place.
Wait. There's a whole other cloud.
Yeah, I think those characters are done. Honestly.
No. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? When you're thinking about the future, so futurists, I think it's futurist.org or futurist.com. It's a whole website. It's actually created by futurists, and their whole job is to project the timeline of the future. And one big concept or popular future theory is that eventually we're going to upload our consciousness into cloud-based simulations to live essentially forever.
We did that.
Yeah, well, but literally though, whatever literally or figuratively. So I think it's significant whenever you hear the word cloud. And Westworld, the creators of Westworld are too smart, I think, to miss an opportunity like that. They'll be important somehow. But I had a point and now I've forgotten it. So,
Well,
anyways.
That's great.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Okay, let's move more into the episode. So one of the new elements that were introduced into this particular episode, and I don't know if this... It was introduced in this episode. I'm not sure if it's going to appear throughout the rest of the season. I'm going to assume it is because it was heavily implied in their marketing, which is this circle thing, right, with data points.
Insight. Yeah.
This circle thing.
Oh, that's the company.
Well, no, not the company. I'm talking about when they were transitioning from location to location. It was a circle, and they're talking about like, oh, now we're in London, in Los
Right.
Angeles, and stuff like that. If you go onto the website, there's I think it might be the Insight website, just might be the Delos Westworld website, but the same type of like graphical interface is shown with various like pivotal points in like human history. So what do we think that is, and is that tied into the whole Insight AI thing that's there?
Yeah. The insight thing to me is a little confusing, but the impression that I'm getting from this first episode is that they're in another simulation, right? And here's why. Every time we see Caleb, who is played by Aaron Paul, much like how the hosts are portrayed in Westworld, he wakes up almost in the same position. He has a motivation, right? He has his backstory, which is this PTSD event that's causing him PTSD with Francis. Francis is even a voice in his head who's calling him every now and then, either motivating him or not to do, to live a certain thing. Every night he does the same thing, which is play out this almost Grand Theft Auto, the video game, playing out these like missions to make money. He does the same thing every night, and so he is clearly living a loop, right? And again, I think the shot that sells it is just every morning he wakes up in the same position on the same bed, and he's just always like,
Do you think though that that's being presented to us to kind of say we as people,
Yes.
and even people in the future, are playing
And
a loop in general?
They've already made that connection in the last 2 seasons, right? Humans and these hosts are very similar. Humans are programmed, whether we know it or not, from childhood, our environment, all the things around us. So yeah, you're absolutely right. He could be programmed. I just think the way that the creators chose to show things, I think it's supposed to imply though that he potentially is maybe someone Dolores brought back, or the whole world is a simulation. I'm not sure.
I mean, it was implied 3, 4, 5, 6 times in this episode, like simulation, dream on dream,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
They also made a point of reference to reference how much time has passed
For 3 or 4 months.
It's been 3 months, right? Like Bernard says, it's been 90-something days since I last saw her. When we see the Charlotte board meeting, it's been 3 months. The only thing that takes place, the only scene that seems to take place directly after is when Dolores goes after the Insight guy at his home, and
that's right after. That's right after.
that it appears to imply it because the news is happening and he wants to pull his stock right there and then, so it's just happened.
Yeah, good call.
And that, so that implies it's just happened, right? And she says, I've not long been with this world.
Right.
So this is where she got her money and her resources.
That's her Kickstarter.
Yeah,
That's her Kickstarter. That's her GoFundMe. What a nice, generous person. That's what we have to do.
Wasn't coerced at all.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you guys think about this, though? Right. So, we have the quote unquote future. It seems like economically, what we've seen, people are doing pretty well for the most part. Seems like though Bernard is in a part of Asia, which is super rural. And now, did we always know that Westworld was on an island in Asia, or did we just learn that?
No, we knew that. We knew that
it was
from
in Asia.
Yeah, in season 2, it's introduced like there was a throwaway line of like, oh, the Chinese government's pissed that like this shit went to hell.
Yeah.
So we knew that it was in like the Eastern world, the Asian ocean lands,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was an island or a couple islands, I think.
Yeah. Because now that we're talking through it, actually, I think I have like a. Do we have a prediction spot on this thing?
Yes, we do have predictions, but
All right,
we're
so
not
I'll
there
wait.
yet.
I'll wait.
You have
All
a
right,
theory
never
and a prediction.
Yeah,
Jesus
sorry,
Christ,
I'm
you're just
jumping all over the
teasing the
place. My bad.
hell out of us.
mind. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a tease.
What?
I'm just saying. I'm teasing the future.
That's I'm teasing the future.
I'm teasing the future right now.
Well, so I do want to talk about how, and I'll just make this brief because I'm covered. I'm not seen right now on video.
Are you sure? Look again.
No, but I'm obviously what seems to be the big MacGuffin of this season, or at least this early part of the season, is the fact that there is this big spherical AI, right, that according to, let's say, the majority of humans, or like at least high up businessmen, is the smartest piece of technology on the planet.
And they're using it for strategy.
And they're using it, and no one, and it's said in this episode that no one knows who's really controlling this piece of machinery.
Well, doesn't Scarman drop a name right before he gets shot by his doppelganger?
Yes.
Kevin.
Wasn't it Sycar or something?
I thought he said Kevin.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going with that.
You're
For the rest
going
of
to
the
go with
season.
Kevin from
Yeah,
The Office?
for the rest of the season, I'm going to be
Hi,
like,
guys.
where's Kevin? Who's Kevin?
No, it's not
Where's
Kevin.
Kevin?
I think it was like I thought it was maybe.
But
yeah,
wouldn't
maybe it
that
was
be
Kevin.
kind of fun?
Oh, find Kevin.
We'll find Kevin. Who the fuck is Kevin?
It's such a generic name, like
Kevin
Exactly.
Kevin
I
Malone?
love that.
Yeah, Kevin Malone from The Office.
Kevin Malone.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Jesus. Okay, so we've gone through a little bit, barely anything. Let's be honest.
That's so much.
Let's specify a couple of things. Like right off the bat, you don't see Maeve at all. She's not even mentioned in this episode, which is fine.
No Maeve, no Man in Black, and there were 5 characters I've noticed this specifically listed in the opening credits as main characters. Right?
Let's hear him.
So that is Evan Rachel Wood, who plays Dolores, Tandy Newton, who plays Maeve.
Wait, she was in the opening credits?
What previously, right?
No. In terms of list, when they play the theme song and they list they list the cast names. Right.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Ed Harris was listed 3rd as
The Man
in Black.
Tessa Thompson.
Tessa Thompson was listed 4th as
Tessa Thompson.
as Charlotte Hale, but she's obviously Charlotte Hale. The human is dead, so it's the Charlotte Hale look-alike host.
doppelganger, yeah.
We don't know exactly who. And then Aaron Paul as Caleb.
What about-
That's it. Those
What
are the
about
only
the guy
5.
who plays Bernard? I forget his name.
Oh, he was also listed. So it was 6. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Jeffrey Wright as
Jeffrey
Bernard.
Wright,
That's
yeah.
Bernard. So it's 6.
He's
That's
my
it.
favorite part of the show. Interesting. Well, I mean that's easy, right? Bernard is at the end of this episode. We see him pull out a map and he gets on a boat and he's like, "Take me here." And they're like, "Why do you want to go there?" He's like, "I gotta find a friend or whatever." In West, so he's going back to Westworld. So we assume that's where he's gonna probably meet back up with
Did
Man in Black and.
Did anyone else?
Maeve?
Did anyone else get like Jurassic Park vibes?
The whole
When-
thing. Yeah.
When he's like, I want to go back to the island. I was like, oh, Jurassic Park.
Well,
okay,
it is Michael.
cool.
It's Michael.
It's the same creator.
It's the same guy who made Jurassic Park.
You do realize this, right?
What?
Wait, we've talked.
Wait, does he have a
we've
fascination
talked
with
about
parks?
So we've talked about
Wait,
this
is he
before.
connected to Disneyland?
You do
Did he
realize
know Walt Disney?
that Jurassic Park
Was a book first.
was a book, but also as a joke, but maybe not a joke. Can
Guys.
also be a park.
Guys.
Another simulation.
Well, I thought it was Game of.
HBO did try really hard, and they talked about briefly having a Game of Thrones park.
I mean, I think that I'm not
No,
gonna lie.
no.
I feel like the amount of different parks that they could have done, they kind of fucked up on it because we got the Shogun World, which was just a spitting image of Westworld.
Well,
which
the
is-
idea there is to show that they're unoriginal in their stories, and they just
No,
translate
I understand that, but it would have been kind of cool to see like some weird, wacky
No,
parts
because the whole point
of the
of
show.
the
Unless
parks is
we're
to
in a
show-
park
is
still.
to show his story, and unfortunately, they're really stories are interesting. There's different combination of very simple plots, and there's only so many simple plots that you can do over and over and over again.
because it's all a loop.
You can dress it up, make it different, but the basic core plots, there's only like 23 or 33 or something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So drugs.
Drugs. Yeah, there was a lot
Going
of
back
drugs.
to my homeboy Marshawn Lynch. Do we think Marshawn Lynch? This is it. We're gonna see more of him. Please, can we see more of him?
We're going to see more of him.
I don't know about that, just because the
Wha-
scenes we saw in the trailers were all shown in this episode with Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
It was the exploding one where they're holding their ears and there's an explosion, him punching the guy. Those were the 2 big ones I remember, and we saw those and a couple extra. I don't know, unless he calls them up in him working with Dolores. I don't see it happening. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be a fan favorite and people are going to want more, but this might be it.
That's a shame. Well, you know what? He went out with a bang.
I mean, he was there. I mean, he got anger.
Yeah,
And then
anger, yeah.
He got anger, and then he like punched the guy in the face.
He has the coolest shirt of 2020.
Yeah.
So let's talk real quick. So obviously Aaron Paul's new character, Caleb, right?
Caleb,
Caleb.
yeah.
Caleb is introduced to Marshawn Lynch through real life GTA, right?
Yeah.
Basically, it seems like if anyone is familiar in Grand Theft Auto, you in the newest one, you can basically go on your phone and pick up crimes to go do, and you make some money. And in this world, there's an app built for it. I challenge those listening, those watching, if this type of system actually exists, please send us information about it because I would love to do a deep dive and actually discover if this world really exists.
There's actually
That's simple.
Sounds illegal.
That's
there's
simple.
there's a movie that came out recently with Daniel Radcliffe called Guns Akimbo,
Oh yes.
where the premise of the movie is there's this underground black market where people are like assigned killing contracts and kill people. And
I
it's
mean-
all recorded, it's all streamed live. And he's just basically an internet troll that makes fun of this culture. Then he gets kidnapped, gets guns bolted to his hand, and then must contribute into this society.
Arjuna's biggest movie pick of 2020.
I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
I mean,
And,
can we see it?
No, just because I don't know if you just saw it or it just broke that the mayor has said. Should I read it? Is it worth it?
Sure, show it. It's relevant. It makes this timely.
Yes.
Hold on, my computer's now frozen. Anyway, the mayor of LA just said that he's restricting until March 31st. No gyms, no entertainment venues. Restaurants can only do delivery only. Supermarkets still remain open. So entertainment venues, I would say, also includes movie theaters. So I think those are gone
There it
until
is.
March 31st.
Well, that sucks.
So yes, we can't see it.
All right, never mind. Guess we won't be watching that movie.
Long-winded
ever.
way of saying no. No.
Yes.
No.
But anyway, going back to the original point,
Yep.
there probably is some type of like dark web.
Oh, so it's probably in the
type of
dark
thing.
web. Duh. That's
Yeah.
so stupid. I wonder if someone has developed that already where it's like as simple as like pull out an app and it's like, oh, I'm going to go do a quick bank robbery. Select. Ding.
Quick. Wow.
I wonder if people actually use Grand Theft Auto 5 online to coordinate and like simulate
Don't give people ideas.
real
man.
life crime.
Yeah, don't stop.
That,
Take that out of the podcast.
Someone has said that.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Okay, let's move into our favorite parts because we're all fans of the show. We've been watching it for far too long.
4 years.
4 fucking years.
God.
So, Arjuna, what would you say your favorite part of this episode was?
I think what I really liked about the episode was probably I really actually liked Dolores' character, to be honest. I liked that. I mean, she's clearly been the protagonist of the show from the start. I've liked the arc that we've seen, and she seems to be on a mission. And kind of like to Krishna's point earlier, I think, part of what her arc is this season is figuring out what that mission is, right? We, as the viewer, are watching this person on their mission, what they're doing, and I think it's going to be fascinating to see, like, what exactly that is. Because, like, you get some idea, like, oh, at the beginning, she's clearly going after people that have wronged her, right? There's a lot of people that probably visited this park. But there's
Yes.
also something else, right? She's hinted at that a revolution is coming. She wants her species, hosts, to kind of be the new dominant species.
Yep.
And so she's infiltrating specific companies with different interests. And I think you see that with her taking, killing Scarface. This was all part of the plan. Like, nothing went wrong. When she was drugged and, like, taken out, that exactly, I think, went according to what she wanted
otherwise
to
she
happen.
wouldn't have him as a body double set up and ready to go.
Exactly. So that's my favorite part, and I'm fascinated to see where it goes.
Christian, what would you say your favorite is if you have one? Negative Nancy over here.
Yeah, no, my favorite part probably is when Bernard is speaking to himself. It's pretty funny. So he'll be like, he's got a thing plugged into his arm, and he's just like, what does he call his other?
He's
self?
doing like the technicians.
Self-diagnosis
It's
or
a
something?
it's not self-diagnosis, but it's like a technician diagnosis
Yeah.
of each host that
Yeah.
they do this.
Yeah, but he asks himself one specific question. It's like, would you lie to me? So he's like asking his subconscious, right? Would you lie to me? And there's a good 3-second pause. No, I would not lie to you. I was like, what? Like,
Do you-
unbelievable.
Do you
I love
think that
it.
was
It
like true,
hilarious.
like in real life, like the creators of Westworld are like, man, do you ever have those moments where you talk to yourself and you're just like,
Oh, yeah.
I'd never lie to you. Yes, I would. No.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all a little a little multiple personality disorder. Little
Well, they say
schizo.
you have like a voice. Your
yeah.
id? Is it your id or something?
Well,
I
it
don't
depends,
know
it depends on
philosophy.
depends on which model you're looking at. I mean,
But we all supposedly have that voice. It's your conscience, right?
I mean, that's part of it. You have many voices. That's the point. You
I know. I have an inside voice. I have an outside
Yeah,
voice.
exactly. You even have a voice that's like, yeah, I don't know, go steal someone's candy.
I would never steal candy.
Well,
I would steal
A
I
Zapdos
wouldn't
card?
steal-
Oh,
Yeah, I would
wow,
steal a
okay.
Zapdos card
Yeah,
by
all right.
manipulation, but whatever. My favorite part, because nobody asked me.
yeah.
And okay, let's move on to our least favorite parts.
So my favorite part's gonna be the stuff with Aaron Paul and the GTA stuff.
Oh yeah.
It was shot really, really entertaining. It was very, very different for a show that's now entering, obviously, its third season. This entire episode, I said to you at the beginning, I was like, was this Westworld? Did it feel a little different? And I think those sequences with Aaron Paul being introduced to another character, and especially being played by a strong actor, it allows us to kind of see something a little bit different. We've been in Westworld for 2 seasons. We get it, right? Now we're seeing the real world, and we're seeing what people are doing. I think it's fascinating, and how it's presented is also very, very interesting. So I thought that entire sequence with like Marshawn Lynch, I unfortunately don't know the actress's name that was also with them,
Lena Waithe.
was all very, very interesting, and I thought that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the music was dope. It's future
Yeah,
music.
Yeah. Future music. Yeah.
It wasn't the Hue, but whatever.
It should have been Kid Cudi.
You know what would have been great if it was the Hue, because then you could argue that the Hue exists in the Star Wars universe because it's in the Fallen Jedi Fallen Order game, so it's canon there, and it's also would be in the Westworld world. So then they're connected.
Yeah, but that's
So
technically then Hugh is a Disney, or that song is a Disney thing, right?
I don't know how.
Which is why I haven't been
legal
able to
shit
buy
works.
it yet.
Yeah, you can't buy it, which sucks. Side
That's annoying,
tangent, but
yeah.
whatever. Least favorite part.
My
I'll go
least-
first. No, go ahead.
Go ahead. My least favorite part. I'm gonna say probably just the guy in the beginning. The older the Delos guy. He was
Whatever
annoying.
his name was.
Yeah.
Douchebag.
Yeah, he was annoying, and also it just wasn't believable to me, and I felt myself kind of yawning. Like he just wasn't very. He didn't. To me, it was a way to get into the show, right? And it just felt to me a little bit too. Oh, here we go. Of course, it has to be Dolores murdering someone. So it was like the character and also the whole situation. I'm like, it's just too. It's too blatant. It's too obvious.
Right.
You
She
know, I
She
was
didn't
hoping-
murder him. He murdered himself.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
He ran into the water.
yeah, well, yeah, it's true. But it was just so expected, and I was a little disappointed that because Westworld is sort of built on these like twists and turns, and you questioning what is real and what is not, and it's just such an obvious. Oh, of course she's taking revenge on someone and getting information and money that she needs for her, robotic revolution. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, one of the biggest complaints about season 2 was the intricacy and twists. And Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, the creators of the show, also husband-wife team, said that their goal of season 3 was to streamline and simplify.
Oh boy, that might not be a good thing.
Well, I'm actually okay with that because season 2 is very convoluted and confusing, right? The fact that we don't even know if Tessa Thompson, who she is at this point.
But
She's been played. She has played 4 different characters at least, right?
But
so we don't even know.
Right,
So
but
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Just don't do it hokey pokey.
Well, I don't think season 2 had hokey pokey in it. Like you're going off like from season 1 to season 2. Season 1 was like this thing. If you're not familiar with the story, you go into it completely blind, and you're like, okay, what the fuck is happening? And then it's like you get kind of like the reveal and kind of get your grounds like episode 2 and 3. I think it's okay. Third season into this, like we don't know one particular element. We still kind of have a general sense of what's happening. We have a Bernard who's and real quick, Bernard was my personal least favorite thing of this. Is like Bernard was this badass, like
Yeah, he was never badass.
well, he's badass in the sense of like this philosophical, like weird android, come back, die, come back, messed up thing.
Caretaker of the hosts, right?
Right. But then you've got this like entire. I don't know. It felt like he was just there to be there. It didn't feel like it really did anything beyond.
Well, here's my counter to that.
Sure.
You're starting Bernard, being one of the primary characters. He's starting at a low point, right? He was killed. He was killed at the end of season 2, brought back by his self-declared arch nemesis for this arc. He's on the run. He's wanted. He's at his lowest point, and I think this season is going to show this guy go from his lowest point back up. This is character has to build himself all the way back up because each of his seasons is about discovery, right? Season 1 is discovering that he's a host. Season 2 is about him finding his consciousness, and now season 3 is him doing something.
Probably it's about finding his voice.
Oh my god!
Well, he did. He found his voice last season.
No. His voice, as in he's going to lead people. His outer voice, not his inner voice. He found his inner voice.
That was a consciousness, Arjuna. Something you lack.
Oh,
I am a sociopath.
So, what's your least favorite part?
My path. I think my least favorite part has to be. I really liked the episode, but probably the executive guy that she's dating.
Oh yeah,
Dolores.
The Insight son.
The Insight son.
The son of the creator of Insight, apparently.
Right? Yeah. There was something about his character, almost similar to what Christian said about the older guy, that I felt about this character. Like, it's not believable, just uninteresting, and I hope, it seems like they threw him away because he's just a figurehead, and I kind of hope it stays that way.
It wasn't.
But we'll see. Yeah, I didn't think his character was particularly strong. I mean, maybe that's the story. Obviously, he's not supposed to be a particularly strong character, but those sequences were my least favorite for sure.
Word.
All right, so we're moving into our theories. Christian, you both have a theory and a bold prediction. What do you want to do first?
I'm gonna do my theory because then I'm gonna refute it with my prediction.
Oh, okay. Well, here we go. A lot of Krishna. Go ahead.
I'm gonna streamline this too.
He doesn't.
So
Thank you, Krishna.
and that's as streamlined as it gets. No. So my theory, which I'm actually going to refute in a second, my theory is that they're in another simulation. We have a direct line from the guy at the party. He's like, "Oh, don't you ever feel like this is a simulation in a simulation?" The fact that there's so many drugs being passed around, nobody really knows what they're doing. Also, the way it's shot and the way this world is portrayed, it's like too perfect. Some of the shots were like, there's like one shot where they're getting off the plane, and it's just framed so perfectly. I'm like, and I feel like that was done to show that they're almost in like a dream world, right? So, and also the fact that Aaron Paul wakes up in the same position every day. Everyone's on a loop. Dolores thinks she's escaped to the real world, but Anthony Hopkins' character has written a world in a world, right? And the maze is never ending. You can never truly escape it. My prediction refutes this in that I think this was all done a little too intentionally. If I know the Nolan brothers, nothing is ever really what it seems. So my prediction is that we'll be thrown for a loop. They actually are in the real world, and everyone in the real world wish it wasn't real because they're trying to escape from it. The real world feels like a dream, and it's not that great, and they want to escape, but they can't because it is real.
So it's a double negative, essentially.
Double negative.
You
exactly.
think but they want you to think it's a fake world.
Yes.
But it isn't a fake. It's
Yes.
real, and everyone's depressed.
Exactly.
It's exactly what you think it is.
No, they want you to think, and I think to me it seems obvious. They want you to think this is another simulation. It's too overt to me, right? The line, simulation and simulation. That right there is the nugget in this whole thing. And made me think about, you know what? They wouldn't do that. They would not put that line in. They're not that dumb, right? That line is there to make you start thinking for this entire season, right? That things are fake. Like none of this is real. And I think the twist at the end is that it is the real world, and it's very disappointing. You're supposed to.
So that's your season prediction.
Yes.
Because are we going to do like we did for Mandalorian, like season prediction, episode predictions?
No, we're not going to do that. That's a lot, and it gets convoluted like crazy. I think we have like big throw out. Whenever we personally are like, "Oh, this is my prediction," based on whatever. My rebuttal to that though, Christian, is like, we learn in episode 1 or 2 of season 1 of Westworld that these are hosts and they're living out their simulation or whatever. I think it's been presented already that anything that we're seeing could potentially just be a load of bullshit and just nothing is real. So I don't know if them throwing these like, oh, is it simulation or the simulation man or whatever is necessarily like, them trying to like say that they're not in the real world.
Trying to trick you, basically.
Trying to trick you. I think it's kind of assumed at this point that we are in the real world. But again, you never know. I mean, with the creators, they like to fuck with us.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think, and that's done intentionally, and I think their intention is to be like, because let's be honest, a lot of people feel like that, especially right now, right?
Yes.
You talk about timing, and that's not just with current events, and I think it's just as we move more into an age where we're more plugged into this, right, and this, things around us start to feel less real because we start using more of our intellect to think about things and exist in other worlds that don't actually exist, like online games and movies and TV shows. And when you immerse yourself in those sort of mediums all the time, right, real world doesn't feel so real anymore, right? And I think they're going to play, I think they're playing with that hardcore with this whole thing. So I think it is going to turn into a double negative. And they're like, no, it's real. It's just that you're fucked up, that, you have habits that lead you to think things aren't real when they are, or whatever. Don't judge me.
Does anyone else have any theories, bold predictions?
I mean, I think the first 2 seasons have played with time,
Yes.
right? I think the
Ooh, that's a good
same
one.
is said for season 3. I wonder how many scenes, how much is post the destruction of Westworld and pre-destruction of Westworld. Particularly with Dolores and Bernard, right? We're assuming it's the same time.
Yep.
But especially with all the references to time, Bernard being paranoid about him being manipulated, I think there's...
Wait, even though that like Bernard says it's been 92 days and
Yeah,
15,
Remember, though, his
92
thing might be lying to him, right?
Yeah.
his internal.
His whatever
conscious.
whatever the hell he's talking to.
Yeah, so I just think there's something with time here. That would be one theory I have. There's some type of time element. I don't know. I mean, just one episode in, I don't know what it is. And even the end of season 2 referenced it with the Man in Black kind of having the I forget what the test was called. The test to see if
Turing test?
to basically see if a human could be a robot, right?
Oh, no, it's if a robot could trick a human.
Yeah, but remember, like, the Man in Black was, like, reliving it, so you don't know, like, what you've seen of the Man in Black, if it was actually what happened or it's him reliving what
Right,
he did.
that's true.
All that type of stuff. And we know he's in the season. And so I'm just, I mean...
Where is he again? He's still living out the nightmare?
No, he left
the park.
Well,
Where
no,
is
he was in a tent on the park.
Right.
He was on a tent. He got shot up pretty bad.
Yeah.
And he was on the park, and then he leaves the tent at one point towards the end, and we assume he went back somewhere else. But then it jumps forward to the future, where a host version of himself is reliving this loop.
So we assume that's the present, the host version.
No, the host version is the future.
I mean, it's the present where we're at in season 3.
No,
How do you know?
it's in the far, far future, because they're clearly in Westworld, and everything is decayed and rotten and destroyed.
Right.
Yeah, and they said it was in the far future. No,
See, here's the thing with the time. What does that mean?
Well, Nolan-
which future? Which relative future are we talking
Nolan
about?
said it's in the distant future. That's what that scene is.
Whoa,
He said that at the end of season 2 in like post interviews or whatever.
He did.
interesting.
He said it's in the distant future
Why would he say that?
because people asked him and he answered.
Interesting.
Christian, I don't know how much more
Yeah.
simple I can get this.
It's not simple. It's never simple.
Life is never simple.
You motherfucker. Oh, sorry.
What about you? Do you have any predictions or theories?
Yeah.
My bold prediction is I will not lose interest in this like I lost interest in Star Trek Picard.
That's cheating. You can control how you feel about things, whether you think you can or
Still
not.
a bold prediction.
It's not bold.
To go boldly where no one has gone
In fact,
before.
I'm going to say that as a cowardly. If you're going to make a new section, cowardly predictions, that's number 1 right there.
We can just designate it that.
All right, it's a cowardly prediction. Put an asterisk.
Juno,
next
do you
to
have any bold predictions?
it. Yes.
I believe that. I believe I believe
in a thing called believing.
I believe. I mean, this might be considered a safe prediction. I believe Caleb is a host.
That's a lame one.
No, it's a better prediction than yours.
My prediction was great.
Yours is just like, I believe I will be interested.
Oh, but you know what? I'll take it one step further. I believe Caleb is a host, but Dolores and all the other hosts don't know he's a host.
And the
And
host,
I believe,
the host.
And I believe, and to take it even one step further, I believe there are already multiple hosts out in the real world.
And do you think maybe there has something to do with the Insight AI thing that's
Yes,
doing something?
yes, I do. I think there's. I think it's connected.
So we have like 5 different factions now. We have humans, we have the cloud, we have the hosts left on Westworld, we have the hosts that left Westworld, and now we have Insight hosts.
Because I don't know if you guys remember,
Wait, if your theory is correct.
Caleb also drops a line that he has been shot in the head before.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
That's right.
I forgot about that. That's
And
that's probably
as soon as I heard that line, I'm like, "You're not real."
wait, and that's Creed would say from The Office, "You're not real, man." And then he would walk away.
That's true. Like this AI thing presents something that's kind of interesting, where it's like we have these host things that are not full true AI, and it's being presented as this giant Insight AI thing. We don't know what it is, and it has been running. And Aaron Paul's character actually says like a line of like they don't care about the individuals, or it doesn't care about the individuals. And the son of the creator of the AI said like, wouldn't it be great if we could set a course for everyone's life and have this thing just do that, and then everyone's
Like a
life would be
host.
great.
Like what they do for hosts, essentially. Give everyone a motivation and a path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Nolan is the brother of Christopher Nolan, and if there's anything you know about Christopher Nolan movies, they never waste a line of dialogue, and there's normally a double meaning to everything that's said.
Gets annoying.
Definitely does.
No offense, John, if you're watching, but sometimes you're just like, oh, give me something.
It's
straight.
not realistic, right?
Yeah.
Like no one talks in sentences that have 3 meanings. Like it's so deeply philosophical, but it is interesting for a show like this.
Yeah, sure.
Being that season 3, episode 1, I doubt anyone has a rant.
I have a rant.
Let's hear it.
Not enough product placement.
No hot takes. Fun fact, though, Aaron Paul was actually cast as a character in season 1, but had to turn it down. Arjuna, why in season 1
And
in 2016 did he have to turn it down?
which character?
So he never confirmed it, but most people believe he was cast as the young man in black in season 1. The reason he had to turn it down was there was a show that he was cast in at the same time that he was also an EP on.
Oh,
Little
God.
known show on Hulu that Krishna watched the first season.
Speaking of what is real,
What was that show? I completely forgot the name.
it's
of the
about
show.
it's about the cult.
It's about a cult.
It's
What was
about a
it called?
cult.
The
A literal
following?
cult.
No, the following.
Not the following. I can look it up. real
Yeah,
quick,
but basically he is in there. So like this tight knit religious cult, and it's all about buying into this belief system. And he breaks free of the cult, and because he breaks free, some thinks he's the chosen one,
The
and
path.
others
path,
think
that's
he's
it.
the Antichrist.
yeah, the show's called The Path. So he was involved in this show called The Path.
Which is
And
again
he couldn't
ironic.
do it at the time, and he really regretted it, and he said that, and they came back to him with this character Caleb in season 3, and he was very excited to join it.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I'm glad he wasn't cast as the young man in black, just because he would have only been around for 1 season. I thought Jimmy Smits, who played the young man in black, did a great job.
Is that his name, Jimmy Smits?
Jimmy Smits, I believe.
You sure?
Maybe Jimmy Simpson. I don't know.
Jimmy.
What is
'cause
it?
I feel like Jimmy Smits is.
You're
isn't
right.
That,
yeah, you're right.
Jimmy Smits is the
Bail
senator.
Organa. Bail Organa.
How do you confuse those guys?
Who did you just confuse?
He just called young man in black the actor Jimmy Smits, who is Bail Organa from
It was
Stomp.
actually Jimmy Simpson.
Jimmy Simpson. There we go. I mean, all right, same initials. Close enough. Close enough.
JS.
Yeah.
They kind of look similar, right?
Yeah, I can see it. No,
That's terrible.
they-
That is flat out
Oh
terrible.
my god.
All right, kids, I think we finally hit that point.
All right.
Krishna
Yeah.
was
Westworld.
Westworld season 3, episode 1 good?
I'm gonna say yes.
Ooh-wee.
You know, I enjoyed it. It was well played. I'm gonna say this too. the one scene where you have it's a one shot inside of the car. We have the backup cam, and you just see Dolores mowing down all these guys, and then she gets back in the car, and then reverses, and you see a guy getting run over in the backup cam. That scene I thought was really, really good. I was
They've
like,
always loved
is-
their cinematography.
yeah, this is cinema. This is cinema level. That one shot right there, elevated the whole thing in my mind. And there were some really beautiful shots in this as well, which we come to expect from the show. I was disappointed with how it started, but there were enough questions posed and enough sort of mysteries that they've presented that I'm hooked. I'm in for another season. I was not excited about this season, I will add, but I'm hooked. I was entertained, and I will watch it again. And yes, it was good. Arjuna, was Westworld season 3, episode 1 good?
No, it was great. I really loved this episode. I'm really excited for this season. And yeah, I thought it was like a pretty perfect season premiere. Gave you just the right amount of information, leaves you a lot of questions, hooked. I'm definitely coming back next week and the rest of the season. And yes, I will watch it again with the full season and full show one day. Ravi, was the thing good?
I want to say no, but I'm going to say yes because it was legitimately good. It was good. Yes, but I'm torn because I have to wonder: are we saying it was good because we've been starved of Westworld for so long? And I always wondered that question. Like, we hit it on an almost 2-year hiatus where we have not seen Westworld. We were not so involved in that world. It has been so long.
Yeah.
And I truly wonder, like, are we saying it's good because we truly want it to be good because of what's happening with things right now? Like, we need something to be entertained and enjoy right now?
No, and the reason that I'll say no, it was legitimately good, is because I actually too wanted to say it was not good.
Oh.
But this episode reminded me, it pulled me back into the world because it's been 2 years and I've forgotten about that world, and that's why I wasn't excited about this. I was like, Westworld, I really had to scratch my brain and be like, what is that world again? Huh? You remember a
The
little
fuck
bit.
is that?
This thing pulled me right back in. The characters, especially Dolores, like Arjuna hit on the head.
Yeah.
She's driving this thing now, and she is great.
I also thought they did a great job of taking a show and remixing it a little bit, right?
Yeah, like I said,
Yes.
that sequences and introducing Aaron Paul's character, I think those definitely help.
It's revitalized my interest because honestly, for me, at the end of season 2, I was like,
You're over Westworld.
I was just like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know how much more you can do it like this.
We're going back to Westworld.
Yeah.
Because of Bernard, right?
Yes, but I don't think it's going to be in the same way.
I
know I've watched a couple trailers for the season, and they do go back to the worlds, right? Particularly with Maeve's character. Spoiler alert.
what?
You read spoilers, you dum-dum?
No, in the trailer you can tell she's in another world within
Westworld, right.
Westworld. But yeah, I still think it is very exciting with what they're doing, and I like that the seasons are 10 episodes, and I think I'm very excited for the ride we're going on right now. It's a good starting point. Let's see if they can continue it through.
I have one question before we wrap it up. First 2 seasons. This is tough. Do you think is this the potential? Forget about the last season of Game of Thrones. Is this potentially better than Game of Thrones?
No, I don't want to put a curse on it.
Okay, that's
I don't want to talk
That's
about
smart.
that.
That's a smart
I,
move.
Yeah.
All right.
No, because
Yeah, I don't want to.
I hate to say it.
Yep.
There was another
Expectations. I understand.
The thing is, like, let's just talk about HBO real quick as like a distribution platform, and there's a bunch of producers and executives and presidents that run that fucking thing. They have a fucking problem when it comes to ending series.
yeah.
Let's not imagine that they'll fuck this up. They fucked up HBO. They fucked up Game of Thrones. They fucked up Silicon Valley.
Disagree.
You think they fucked up Silicon Valley?
Silicon Valley.
Oh, they fucked it
Silicon
up.
Valley was good. Wasn't great. Wasn't exceptional, but it wasn't bad either.
Had the potential. They fucked it up.
Yeah, sure.
Either way,
yeah.
I don't. I'm just I'm very cautious when it comes to like
Sure.
good things. I hope they don't screw this up.
Fair enough.
Plus, we don't know when it's going to end, right? There's been no like this is the final season or next. We don't know. Anything yet,
I think
so.
I think we're past the halfway point. If I had to guess.
I would hope so. I think
No
we've
idea.
got maybe one more season, and then I'm like, cool. I don't care anymore.
Well, we got to see how it evolves, right? Because put it this way, if this world ends up being a simulation, that's at least 3 more seasons.
Oh,
but if
God.
this is the real world, yeah, I would say 1 more season after this, and we could probably wrap this up. It's a wrap. But honestly, that's the way I say going.
And just like Christian said, it's a wrap. That's a wrap on this podcast. We are Was It Good? You can find us on Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram at Was It Good BTM, on Twitch, twitch.tv/Was It Good. We will most likely be doing another podcast on episode 2 of season 3 of Westworld. Definitely check that out wherever you subscribe to your podcasts.
We also want to start doing some throwback Was It Goods on some movie classic, TV classics too. Tweet at us at Was It Good for any of your suggestions. We'll probably put a tweet up there. You can respond. Yeah.
Also, they don't have to be classics. They can be very
Could be obscure.
movies. Because honestly, we need stuff to do and watch.
We should try and find Guns Akimbo.
Yeah, that could be one. I'd be down.
Goodbye.